Good morning, I'm Mayor Ronnie Spradlin. Welcome to the State of the Community Luncheon. I look forward to this each year. I am happy to say that 2022 was not a return to normalcy. It was better than normal. The KISD passed the largest bond election in the history of the school. Our Economic Development Foundation scored major hits in bringing jobs to Kilgore, and all of our downtown festivals grew and were bigger than ever. Thank you all for coming. Please sit back and get comfortable and join us as we look back at 2022.
Last year, Kilgore's sesquicentennial year was a year of stunning successes. A decade down the road, maybe even 2 or 3 decades down the road, Kilgoreites, or Kilgoreos if you prefer, will still be looking back at 2022 and saying, that was the year that was. The challenge for today's event is knowing where to start.
Kilgore ISD broke ground on $113 million worth of projects, all approved by voters in 21. The renovation of R.E. St. John Stadium and construction of new tennis courts have both been completed. That was the easy part. A completely new track and soccer complex is under construction and will be done this year, as will upgrades at Chandler Elementary School. The biggest piece of their project, a brand spanking new high school, will take a bit longer.
Down toward the south end of town, historic Roy H. Laird Memorial Hospital was leveled and construction began on a $23 million health science teaching facility that will match Kilgore College nursing and medical technology students with actual healthcare practices in the expanded Christus Trinity Clinic and Emergency Room.
Out in the northeast corner of town, 45 employees of Camfield USA are working in temporary quarters while the Sweden-based parent company completes plans for its 420,000 square foot research, development, and manufacturing facility at Synergy Park. Ultimately, the $60 million facility will provide an estimated 225 jobs.
And on the west side of town, the city installed new water and sewer lines along Industrial Boulevard, also known as Highway 135 South, so that the state could build a new roadway and at long last, a new slightly modified traffic circle, or traffic oval to be completely honest about it, and relocated lines along Commerce in anticipation of a major overhaul there.
Not all our success involved construction projects. While all those successes are worth celebrating, at least one was purely celebratory. The Chamber of Commerce E4 leadership class organized and hosted a sesquicentennial gala to celebrate 150 years of Kilgore. The evening at the Texan featured a catered dinner and a clip from Kilgore Historical Preservation Foundation's video, Look Back at Our Oil Boom. The E4 Gala raised $55,000 to help fund the cost of abating asbestos from the historic Krim Theater. The feature-length film, created by Overton Films, was screened for a full house at the Texan on December 28th.
When completed, the new Kilgore College Christus Health Science Center will offer expanded employment opportunities, and some successful graduates of Kilgore High School are ready for those jobs. As part of the Kilgore High School's health science program, 19 students earned their career-ready certification in phlebotomy, 5 students earned career-ready EKG certification, and 4 students acquired their Kilgore College Certified Nursing Assistant certification, graduating from high school fully prepared for jobs in the burgeoning healthcare industry.
Last year, 80% of Kilgore High School juniors and seniors were identified by Texas standards as college-ready in English and language arts. Fully 1/3 of KHS seniors earned college credits before they left high school, well ahead of the state average of 26%, and 2022-23 is shaping up to be just as successful. Those achievements are to be expected in a district where success starts early. As an example of starting early, gifted and talented students at the primary school earned the most ingenious design in the Region 7 robotics competition. Yes, primary school students designing robots. Who knew? In that same robotics competition, GT students from the intermediate school took first place. Meanwhile, Chandler Elementary earned academic distinction awards for English, language arts achievement, mathematics achievement, and met or mastered the STAR test, while ranking among the top 25% in the state for closing academic gaps among different student subpopulations.
As you would expect, in a community where we're mostly all neighbors, a number of this year's successes involve partnerships. Some examples: the Chamber of Commerce broadened its involvement in the East Texas Coalition, traveling to Washington, D.C. in the spring, and in the fall, hosting a Q&A with the region's state representatives and state senator for members of Longview, Tyler, Henderson, Gladewater, and Jacksonville's Chambers of Commerce. Kilgore ISD partnered with Kilgore College for dual credit classes, and Kilgore College is partnering with Christus Good Shepherd in the Health Science Teaching Facility and expanded emergency room. Rusk County is partnering with Management Training Corporation and Rusk County Pets Alive to allow inmates at the Billy Moore Correction Facility to work with and train dogs from the animal shelter. With this obedience training, adoption rates are expected to increase dramatically. The Chamber of Commerce Education Committee has all but completed plans for Career Tech Day, at which Kilgore and Sabine students will interface with career panels and sign a letter of intent, just like the athletes do, to attend Kilgore College. That committee is a partnership between the Chamber, Kilgore College, and the two school districts. In yet another partnership, KADC and Kilgore College are partnering on a project out on FM 349. KADC is providing property that will become a CDL driver and forklift operator training facility operated by the college.
Our community's development efforts received some international exposure in 2022. In September 2022, KEDC hosted Her Majesty's Consul General, Richard Hyde, along with other senior staff of the British Consulate in Houston as part of the Great British Road Trip 2022, which focused on areas outside of the Texas Triangle. This trip honored Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee, marking 75 years on the throne just before her death. As home to a number of international companies, Kilgore was proud to represent Northeast Texas during the visit.
Building on a history of homegrown successes, KDC this year signed a new agreement with Closure Systems International. The company in that agreement pledges to invest $23 million in new equipment and installation. In a more recent announcement, last week KDC and Skeeter Boats announced that the company is buying the former Halliburton site at the corner of Highway 259 and FM 349, adjacent to the current Skeeter facility. The company will expand production of Skeeter boats by 25% and ultimately add more than 90 jobs. For 50 years, every Skeeter boat in the world has been built in Kilgore. Going forward, there will be even more of them.
Last year was a year for building improvements downtown and for residential development across the community.
If you wanted to build on a lot at Windsor Park, the KK Mob's development on FM 349, you waited too long. Windsor Park is sold out, but you're in luck. The same Mob's companies are developing Iron Farms with Danny Mills. Home building continues, as does the sale of lots at city-owned Remington Park, east of Chandler Elementary School.
Downtown, new owners have rehabilitated the old bus depot on East South Street and what I'm calling the old Curves building at 108 East Main Street. In that same block, relatively new owners have a tenant in a piece of the old Pat Anderson Furniture building. On South Kilgore Street, Imani's Academic Learning Center is offering tutoring, homework support, and even STAR test preparation. On Main Street, David Reeves has expanded his shops on Main. Valencia's Italian Kitchen has just opened, and a vintage vinyl and books offers. You guessed it, vintage records and books.
On Rush Street, Mitch and Casey Mooring are rehabbing the old parts headquarters, with half the space occupied by Mitch Mooring Strings. He builds world-class double basses and repairs stringed instruments. The other half will eventually be occupied by Casey's restaurant, Zen Kitchen. Across from the Moorings, Kenya Ray has opened a leather goods shop, East Texas Leather Company. Across Main Street, but still on Rush Street, Crazy Cup sells coffee and ice cream. On South Martin, the old Ford printing building has been sold and is being remodeled to become an accounting office and retail space.
West of the tracks, next to Jack Ryan's, Crazy Lady Snow Cones at Suite 5 offers snow cones, candy, shirts, candles, charcuterie boxes, hot chocolate, cider, the list goes on.
Those of you who've dealt with cable outages, found yourself without water, or wondered what happened to your gas line, think of it as progress. No fewer than 3 contractors have been opening ditches, boring under streets, and breaking lines to install fiber optic cable. Finally, City Hall says, broken water lines that aren't our fault.
If all work and no play makes the city a dull place, consider the following.
Partnering with Gregg County, Longview, Gladewater, and White Oak, and with a $75,000 grant from the Sabine River Authority, the city is working on a paddling trail. complete with put-in and takeout ramps that will span 53 miles of the Sabine River from Gladewater to Lakeport. At the moment, the plan calls for 3 new access points along the river. On Dudley Road, Public Works and Parks employees leveled and seeded what we're calling the multi-purpose fields near the parking lot for Creekside Trail and Big Head Mountain Bike Trail. And volunteers were added again in 2022, making improvements to the mountain bike trail by adding a new advanced jump line.
No state of the city conversation in 2022 will be complete without some discussion of Main Street. Having suffered what Shakespeare might describe as the slings and arrows of public opinion, the end is in sight. Curbs and sidewalks are getting close to completion. As soon as that's done, city crews will start repairing, replacing, and smoothing the concrete road surface.
At City Hall, we are looking confidently to a happy and productive 23. Here's why.
At this moment, right now, while you're brushing the crumbs off your lap, city staff is pursuing funding for sewer to serve the Fredonia community, for sidewalks along Chandler Street to connect the 4 campuses in that area, and for new roads to serve our industrial parks.
In the next year, the college will complete the pedestrian bridge above Henderson Boulevard. Plans for the extension of downtown streetscaping will have been drawn and approved, and a structural survey of the Crim Theater will have been completed.
Last year, the city took possession of the soccer and softball complex on Highway 135, and this year we will begin upgrades out there funded by a grant from KEDC, ultimately $1 million investment in Kilgore's youth.
A bit north of there, the city and Gregg County will partner to mill and repave more than 2 miles of Goforth, Peavine, and Fred Swanson roads. The city will pay for materials and prepare the road for overlay, while Gregg County will apply the new asphalt.
This year, we will complete designs for new public work facilities and for a new fire station to replace the aging and poorly located Fire Station Number 1.
To the east, Elderville Water Supply Corporation has agreed to work with Kilgore to transfer the right to serve water to 1,700 acres. That transfer will be complete as soon as the bureaucrats in Austin are satisfied.
Inside the city, expect construction to start on several hundred units of multifamily housing, while across the river, Gregg County looks to improve access to their courthouse with the construction of a multi-story parking garage.
And finally, Main Street will be completed this year, but Commerce Street will be the trending topic on local internet pages. This is the year we start rebuilding Commerce from the traffic circle to Harris Street.
Congratulations to all of you on your successful 2022 efforts. From all of us, Happy New Year.